Welcome back to Factorio Space Age. My name is Nilaus and we are continuing on our journey for legendary science. And yes, I know that it's kind of it's a bit samey because it's kind of the same challenge that we want to do, but I think that every single science deserves to be upgraded to the extent that it makes sense. What we're going to do today is, you can see the ones that are lacking: red, green and blue, and also purple. Purple is going to be a separate episode. We're going to do red and green today, then we're going to do blue. Military is probably going to be like not legendary because it used so much coal for legendary and we barely need it for anything, so it's much easier just to make 240 normal. So I don't think I'm going to be using that, but I want 40 legendary reds, 40 legendary greens in this episode, and then 40 legendary blues in the next one, and then 40 legendary purple signs, which is going to be really difficult, but really also really fun. So that's that's going to be the objective, and then we'll have all the signs done. And once all the signs are done, we're going to start tweaking all the things that make it not perform as well as it should be. Because right now we're just making sure that the raw production, but the logistics is not keeping up, and there might be some bottlenecks. And we also know that there is a pretty severe bug that might have been fixed in the latest issue, latest patch, about how awful they are at requesting from space. Because you can have something sitting in space and it's just not dropping down because there are too many requests. Don't know why, don't know how, but it kind of, oh, shouldn't we do that? I think we should do that just to get rid of some of this stuff. Cool. So what I've done today is I have done some preparations, and just to make sure that we can work on it, I'm looking at this one to say, okay, so we need 46. Well, let's scale it down to 40. That means I need 20 copper plates and 20 gears. Okay, 20 gears, that's easily handled by here. And then that should also be easily handled here. So I'm just making this one here, just so I break it down so we can see much easier. And then if we sort of hover over it, we're going to get the sum total of the amount. So in order for us to make 40 legendary red science, we only need 14 legendary iron and 14 legendary copper per second. That is pretty much nothing. Then if we look at the other part, we're going to do exactly the same. It's slightly slower, so we're going to need another beacon here, and that gets up to 42, but then we round it down to 40 so we know exactly what we need. We're going to need some of this, which is also way overscaled, and some gears. That should be enough for this, and a little bit of electronic circuits, a little bit of cabling. All of this is just to make sure that we have enough, and then some iron here, and then a single copper as well. And if you just say all of this, then you see that it's all green except for the gears, but the gears is woefully overscaled, so that's totally fine. This is going to be what it is. And if we look at it from this side, if you need 40 greens, then it's 46 iron and a teeny tiny amount of copper, but it's a non-trivial amount of copper. So also more preparations. I have prepared some spaceships. This is basically the spaceship we had here, and then I have just basically made it a little bit bigger, and then started sort of, when I've made it bigger, it was just too much wasted space, and then I realized, you know, you can actually have this one, an extra line here that is in charge of processing normal ones. Of course, since we're standing still, nothing really much gets processed, but there is a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one, and those are the ones that we're going to be working on today. That should be really straightforward. I've done so much preparation for it. Might even be able to do the blues as well. So how's that going to work? Well, we just go, we're going to start with the simple one. We're just going to take all these numbers. Probably not you, because you don't want to get that in orbit. And we get that to this point, and then if we just smash it down somewhere like here, then we can actually get a sense that, yes, this is definitely doable. And then I'm going to move you as close as possible to this location, and then basically say you're going to be outbound. Good. Funny how they're not actually done. And inbound, they're just going to be very simple. The two things on one belt. There. So that means I need you. You do need a... Oh, right, it's not fast enough. Let's take these out so that they get built. This without is not enough. Oh, right, this also has to be, of course, legendarized. So, this is not enough. A severe deficit, so we do need some kind of module over here. We're going to figure out how that's going to be, because we need these. And basically just 2 of these. That's going to definitely go into the greens. There. And this one is definitely going to go into the other one. So if I do that, then you can... This is going to be the copper, and you're going to be the iron, and then I'm going to get another iron belt out here. And I love this part. I'm going to make these stacked, not because I need it, but there. Right? So that goes in. We just need an inbound for this as well, which is going to be like really low. So that could go up on the top side. There we go. And that means this has to be iron inbound, and this has to be copper inbound. Good. So this should be pretty much doable from this location. What are we going to do? We are going to be making something that picks it up from the side. So we're going to start with one of these. No, we're going to... Yeah, okay. We're going to start with one of these, and we need to make sure that we get... This will then be the more advanced part. And nope, it's going to be the advanced part in legendary form, and it gets there. Okay, so this will produce 11.8 and 4 point something. So that's not enough for what we wanted, because we have our here, we have that it has to be 14 of each. So beacon it is. I think we just want to have one of this, because yeah, so basically what this should do is it's producing a lot less copper than it produces iron. So if I want to make sure that I get it correctly, then I should have an iron and a copper outbound, and copper outbound and an iron outbound, and then it will stall on the iron outbound if I don't do anything special about it. I also think that this thing here should be flipped. Yeah. Why flipped? Well, because then it kind of fits a little bit better here. And these are going to be greens inbound there. Because then this can be flipped. And the reason why it's easier to take... Let me see. And I could just do... Can I do this? Yes. And then an output here. Right? And this will be prioritizing to go on this belt, but any excess goes out here and becomes part of that exporter. There we go. That makes sense. And that's actually as simple as that. Okay. Okay, well, I mean, is that really it? It needs to be able to output as well. So if I do... You're going to be picking up only the stuff you need. And actually this is interesting, because this is a rebalancer, but I really shouldn't be doing a rebalancer. I should be making sure that we only have the carbon thing. So that's actually something we have from the other ones. So we need to get that in as well. And out here we're going to be doing this as being legendary there. And that will put on the right hand side and put on the inside here. So it'll be sort of competing against that, which I don't like. I'd much rather have this go like that, which means all of the excess will always be room for it. Yes. Okay. I think that kind of works, doesn't it? Yeah, we're going to be throwing away a lot of iron, which is a little bit of a shame, but these will also be filling up with iron. Eventually they'll go out here and get in here and get here. Yes. Okay. That's fine. But we do need to take this out, because we don't need a rebalancer. We need a... Yeah, I don't know what I would call that. There. Let me make that. This will just be one that says anything that is... Yeah, this one will be rebalancing that. And do I want to put it in on the same side, or do I want to put it on the outside? So I think I'll do here, and then outbound legendary, oops, and this legendary, and this legendary, and they will go out. So they are not competing against this. They will go on the other side. Is that a good idea? I have no clue. I guess we'll find out. And this one will then be, oops, the same over on this side. And that will be the ice recirculate. Oops. Legendary ice. And before anyone asks, no, you cannot put these in here. So, not gonna work. There. Okay. These could be faster. These should be faster. If I could take this one, I think I'd actually prefer to have this a little bit closer. And then you can be here. Because that means I have a little bit more belt before it goes out here. Cool. I think we're ready to fire this up and see what happens. Right. Let's see. Yep. And this one is definitely producing enough. Definitely. And it will stack up at some point. Okay, and this should be capped at something. Hold on. 50,000? Do I really want 50,000? Wasn't it like 200,000 for the other one? Sure. There we go. It's that simple. And the copper is going to be stuck. And the thing is then, as the copper gets stuck, that's the copper is determining the pace. And anything that is, any excess is going to be thrown out. Brilliant. It works. That's very simple. And there's a flurry of iron here. And yes, you could use that for something else, but that's not how this idea works. This idea works by just having something simple that does one thing and only one thing. Perfect. We have it. And I have now marked it here on... And we're kind of running out if we're not moving back and forth. So I'm going to be unleashing that. So it now goes to Fulgora. I don't even want to go to Fulgora. I want to go to Volcanus, actually. So let's go to Volcanus instead. I wanted to go to Fulgora if I wanted more ice. I want to go to Volcanus if I want more metal. And I want more metal because their metal one is the only one that's actually being used. So we want these to be firing up. This is working. Everything's working. Come on, get this one going. Yes. Okay, now they're busy and then they're going to be working. Right now we're going to be running out, and that's because there's not any flow, but we got a little bit in here at least. How much was it? That is 4.3, and then we can request it back on Nilaus. But we're going to let this one just go back and forth and be happy. Then, second one. Let's have a look at that one. We're going to go back to Nilaus again, yeah. And I'm going to take all of this because that's what we need on our green circuit chip. Is there any way? Yes, there's a way to place this delicately. And we're going to try to do this somewhat the same as what we did on the other one. Let's try and see how close we can make it. That is sort of in line with that. And that is sort of also in line with that. Good. Oh, this actually feels a little bit different, doesn't it? Yeah. Output. And then input. Good. So now this is going to be a little bit more complicated. So we're going to be looking at these things. Now we want... I guess this is like the most ideal case. So this needs that inbound. I'd like it to be one closer because then everything... Oh, it actually doesn't need to be closer, right? This is... Okay, they're all affected. Good. And... Yeah. And I'm gonna get iron in on this one, but you need iron as well, you need iron as well. So we need iron like this. Let's do it like this. Yeah. Iron, and iron. So that's the iron inbound. The gears are inbound, yes. And now the only thing that's missing is greens. So I'm gonna get the greens down here somehow. And we're gonna take this as our output belt. You can be outputting here. That goes on the inside. And you can be outputting here. Good. And on the inside belt here. And I just do that one. Good. So I need iron inbound on this belt, and I need green circuits inbound on this belt. That means I need this part. I really don't think this even needs a beacon. Like, how much do you need? Well, 43. No, hold on. This one actually says I need 20. Okay, so can you produce 20? No. And with modules, maybe. I don't know. We need to... Oh, why are you going somewhere? You should not be going anywhere. You should be going back there. Damn. You should be coming back. Okay, well, no wonder it's not really working. It says circuit network. Okay, we need you to get back here. I think I was just sending it back and forth so that it was collecting some items here. I'm going to do that. And there. Getting some working space. Good. Okay, we got some more modules and beacons inbound. And, well, I just kind of hacking it together here to see what kind of makes sense. Oh, that's not going to work. There. And basically, this is still going to be the iron, and it comes in here. And I would like to make it a little bit... Couldn't I make it closer this way? Sure. That would be better, right? That would be better. There's just so much tinkering with these things, and it doesn't really matter that much because honestly, things are probably just going to be fine. Like, it would also be nice to have it really on, so it could just... yeah, you know what? I actually want to swap these two. There. Because that makes it a lot easier for what is coming in. Because then I could shuffle this around somehow so that you are going to be like this. And that means it can be direct insertion, which is just nicer. And then everything else has to be shuffled around there. And this one is for the copper. So you, and I also need that one is the iron, so the iron comes in. Okay, and this is still beaconed. Good. So this is a little bit nicer. Should be the same, but it's nicer. Great. So now the only thing we need is the iron inbound. We need 4 iron plates here. That is 46. So we do use these 4 iron, and this is for copper. So we need this to be a belt of iron inbound, and then a copper. So this is also interesting because that's also not relevant. We'll just copy from the existing one here. I might as well just do this somehow and just look at it and go okay. Hold on. Let's get it all the way up from that one just so that we can make it exactly the same, like that. And go back. Oh crap, there you go. That's not what we wanted. We don't want it activated yet. However, we want to see if this one can produce enough. It can produce 112. Yes, that's cool. You are definitely not going to go in there, but the copper will go in there. There will actually be an excess of copper in this case. That's very interesting, I think, because I need so little copper that I need to be able to throw away the copper somehow. Which means I can't use a direct insertion, because if I use a direct insertion, then I don't have any method of throwing things out. So that's going to be a little bit more complicated. Alright, we'll try something like this and then see how that goes if we do this one. Do I have any... Do they disappear? No, they actually don't disappear. So I can go in here and I can do... Then they go in here. Okay, so they get in. They go up here, and they become part of that one. Oh, that actually spins once, and it's going to be put in here. Good. So I'll have my iron go down here and smelt it, go up, and then go in here. Yes. The copper goes into this belt, and then I have 2 chances to be picked up, and then anything that flows beyond will just be thrown overboard. So that's another method. I could also do it in a different way, because this one is actually using a little bit too much iron instead of, or it's not using, since the majority is iron, I could use and should probably use this recipe, because this is much better for exclusively iron. But I think I'll make do with this and then just see how it goes. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be unleashing and then see if it works. Oh, that's going to be fine. That one. So we're going to be throwing something out here. Yes, this one will be full, and it will be just getting a buffer very soon. There we go. So that's a buffer. Now every single bit of copper will be thrown out while the iron is flowing happily. This will need to be working... How fast is this? 86.9. So that's definitely faster than we need. And the one that's slowing down is this one. And that's because it is not affected by beacon, because I just moved it. Oh, Damn. Damn. Alright. Well, we're gonna kill it from the side and figure out how to get that beacon back on there. So it turned out it was actually pretty simple. I just need to put a splitter in here. No need to make it more difficult. Just got a splitter in, and then this one is working. We can see that... okay, so iron is not working. That's because I just killed this one. There we go. Iron is coming in. And obviously we will not be getting enough resources in here until we start moving. And that's kind of what we need to do soon. There. That one. Go. So we can go back to Volcanus and back here, and then we'll just gradually get more of this. And we have now emptied the belt of what we have stored. Here, this one seems to be working the wrong way. There we go. Oh, nice. And there we go. That one. It really doesn't matter that it's so deliberate on... oh, okay. I could actually probably make it... Couldn't I make it a little nicer here? Yes, I could make it nicer. There we go, that's nicer. It looks nicer, this part. Good. Alright, so that's gonna be this part. You're going back and forth, these are working, they're getting some stuff, and it'll take some time for it to trickle through. Then we'll get this process going on. I do kind of think that I want the other part as well. If I could find a way to squeeze this one in to be prioritized, and then only do any excess for this. That would be nice. This is weirdly enough actually a self-balancing design, I think. So the way it works is that stuff that comes out on the belt will be going into this one first, which is the one that only produces iron. That means that eventually it'll be iron satisfied and stuck, because it's not really getting anything into the copper part. And that means this one will get stuck. That means the whole thing here gets stuck, and then when this one can't output anymore, like it is now, then it will stop actually picking stuff up from the belt, this one. And once it stops picking up things, it's not happening yet, but it will be happening at some point, then it will stop picking up things from the belt. When it stops picking up things from the belt, it'll go into here. Now, when it comes into this one, it's important that it outputs the copper, which goes in here, and it should never actually flow beyond, because if I get too much copper, then I just leave it as it is. So I don't even need that one. I don't even need that one. I just need to go in here. And that means it's also important that whatever iron gets produced by this one is actually coming out as first priority. So that's why it goes in on the belt before, which means it comes in before that original one. So we're gonna let's see if this one works. It is going to go up here. It's going to be filling up everything. This buffer is full. This buffer is... yeah, it's full, because otherwise it would have picked up things. This buffer is full. These are full. This are full. This one is full. And now we see that it will stack up. This is kind of important part. Then it's stacking up. And then you should stop picking up things. Come on, let's see that it works. I forgot the productivity. That sucks. And we can see now it got in here. And they are now being worked on. There we go. They are now producing the copper. The copper will, at some point, also get stuck. And then it'll stop. It'll balance itself out between these two, because this is better at iron, and therefore I want to just use this as much as possible. But this is the only way to get copper, so I want to use that as little as possible, but as necessary as possible. This is only producing 4.5 copper per second, but that is more than we needed, right? We needed 4. Just 4 here. So this, without any modules, is actually going to be sufficient. It's barely sufficient, but it is sufficient. So this one, just keep chugging along, getting in here, getting this one not quite filling up, but there's still a buffer here. There's still a nice buffer here. So everything is working. They're producing, and we now have it as it should. It is constrained by the production of the green science and nothing else. This is stuck. This is stuck, and we're just kind of just we're in a good place. There are nice buffers everywhere, and then as we do these buffers, this one is just going back and forth. So the only thing we need at this point is to say, well, my friends, we do not need that anymore. Do we not even need this anymore? I think we'll just scrap this. I think we'll just go, yep, we don't need it anymore. And that one, we're not going to do this. And of course, that means that we are not going to get it from... The Arbogast is not going to get these anymore. They will think that they get it, but these are going to be moved over to somewhere that this one is not visiting, so it's not going to get stuck. But they just stay in here. Back on Novice. That one. Do we have any of this? We have 10,000 of that, and we don't have any of the greens because it's still sort of moving back and forth. Do we have anything in here? Yes, we have 10,000. What about you? How are we doing on this one? You have 500. Okay, that's not so much. Why are we not working very much here? Yeah, I think it's just because this is so comparatively copper intensive that it's hard for this one to keep up with the copper. That means we might actually have a difficult time keeping this one up, and we might just have to build a second ship. That's the easy part about this, is even if we don't produce enough, because it's simply not grabbing enough in here, like even though we have all of these working and they're all busy pretty much all the time, then it's still not enough. Is it a constraint on the ship? Yes, it is a constraint on the ship. This one's counted to 60. This should count to 100, because then I can illustrate this as a percentage. I want this to go at 100% speed, and you at 100% speed, or 100% thrust. That means these ones are now going to be... okay, the thrust is not getting in here. Why is the thruster not working? I guess it's actually a little bit desperate for the oxygen part here. We can see this is coming fast. Ah, I know that. It's because we don't have a rebalancer on this one. Because what we have on the belt is so low. Let's see, this one will be eaten into the water one. Yes. And maybe this one should be working on these instead. So even though it's going to be significantly less water, then it might still be better. I can always just put in an extra beacon here if I need to. So this is going to be fast enough, but then it's actually going to be using productivity modules. We want productivity wherever we can, and of course if that speeds everything else up, which is completely irrelevant. Is this allowed to be here? Yeah, it's allowed to be here. So let's move it there so it doesn't affect too much else. There we go. That's going to be much better. That keeps the water happy. And once the water keeps happy, this one is output full. And then hopefully it'll stop consuming so much of that. It's a little problematic that we're not actually getting enough to keep the thrusters thrusting. But, well, it'll work as the fastest it can. We want to move back and forth, and I think this is working great. I think the green one is actually working better. Is it? It's still constrained. This is out. This is out. Oh, really? So it's actually in the copper starving phase where it needs to get this one stuck and transition over to copper. But hey, you just went here and you have a modest amount. That means we now have on. There's no reds, there's no greens, because they're all in here. There's 10,000 and there's 12,000. Perfect. So I can just do transition into that. And in here. And over on the other side. And there. So we're now transitioned into legendary green science and red science. And as I said, if we need more, we'll just add an extra ship. If we, for example, do not feel we generate enough locations here, or enough stuff here. This is... Why is it? Oh, right. It's... Haha, it's stuck. All right. Definitely, let me tweak this a little bit. So I made a bit of a change, and you can see the lights are flickering on and off here. And what's happening is that I've set it up so that each one of them is only allowed to take up if there's more than 20 of whatever this one is collecting. So I need to always have 20 of each running on the belt. 20 is nothing, but it just means that there will always be something that passes by here in order to get the calcite, which is the least abundant resource. So now if we've started again, it should be going back and forth really nicely. It's working at a 150 speed. Yeah, it's not much, but it is. I guess this is what it is. And of course, I've also done it on the other one. And we're missing greens. Why is this one not working? Stop at novice. That's kind of okay. Okay, I did stop it. Just kind of wanted to make sure that we were okay. Now it goes back to volcanoes. This one will also get started. These are also not allowed. Okay, so they are just getting 20, and then as we go out, now they'll start sort of switching on and off. This is not going to be different whether it consumes everything down to 0 or it consumes everything down to 20 isn't going to make a difference for throughput purposes. It only sort of the initial 20 that will just be running around that's going to be the difference. But that means we have these ships. They are working. We're going to be seeing if they can continue to work like this. There might be a little bit of an issue that this is simply not producing enough, and then I'll just plop down a second ship, and then we'll just assume that, okay, well, they can only produce maybe 20 or something like that. Why are you also stopped on Navis? Yeah, they're stopped on Navis, and every time they stop on Navis, they kind of just don't really produce enough. Yeah, they don't collect. They don't have a constant collection. They need to be moving to collect. So I don't think I need a very long time. I just need enough time to just unload. And that's fine again. And you here as well, you will also be just set enough time to unload. Then once we've built these two, then I think that we can sort of move on to looking at the blue circuits or blue signs, because blue signs is going to be more complicated. It's also going to be way bigger. So we'll probably need several ships of this, but we also need to start working on figuring out like coal into coal liquefaction into plastic, because plastic leads petroleum. So it's going to be like a huge mess of things up here just to see if we can build it exclusively from this part. The interesting thing though is that the petroleum doesn't need to use legendary coal to do that, the coal liquefaction, but it's going to be something. So it's going to be more complicated for sure, the blue science, but we have them in methodology now, so we can do that. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. These blueprints for these two ships are, of course, available to patrons, and I will be sure to update them as well, so you have a fresh blueprint book available. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you will continue to watch this series as we continue to do like more advanced legendary science designs. Once we're done with all the legendary science, we're going to be working on, I don't know, other designs maybe, or some scaling up. That some things we also need to get to the Shattered Planet at some point, so that's also going to be an interesting challenge. Thank you for watching. Until next time, take care and stay effective.